सहस्राक्षं गणाधीशं सौरं च सरस्वतीं जनकं जनयत्रीं च शास्त्रादौ प्रणमाम्यहम्. Hello friends, I am Dr. Kashinath. I am working as assistant professor in the Department of Swasthvritta and Yoga, National Institute of Ayurveda, Jaipur. Today I am here to elaborate the Ayurveda way of living, that is Ayurveda lifestyle. You can call it as a Ayurveda lifestyle. So in this context, I am going to highlight 4 points, especially starting from the importance of or introduction to the Ayurveda, because knowledge of Ayurveda is also essential to make out the standard lifestyle. So that is the reason why I would like to start from the introduction to the Ayurveda. Then later I will move on to the second point, that is importance of Swasthvritta in day-to-day life, and next general principle for the application of Dinacharya, and last I will highlight only 2 points, especially Brahma Muhurta and Ushapana, how to accept and how to implement practically in present scenario. So in such a way I am going to present and deliver my talk today. As I said, before we discuss in detail, there are certain things, especially in OPD I can. In present era, even though we are publicizing Ayurveda at the global platform, and even we are orchestrating the essence and strength of Ayurveda in the global platform, even after such huge publicity, there are certain group of people still they believe Ayurveda as just it's a medical science. It's almost all equal to that of the contemporary science, especially like allopathy. And even most of the people, even they are thinking that Ayurveda is essential to manage the chronic diseases, not more than this. But being a Ayurveda specialist, what I want to say is that Ayurveda, it doesn't only restrict itself to managing of the chronic ailments. More than that, Ayurveda is the life science. As we all know that it's a life science. Ayurveda being a life science, it elaborates more about the Ayu. It elaborates the various types of Ayu, that is Hitayu, Sukhayu, Dukkhayu and Ahitayu. And even Ayurveda also elaborates the certain modalities which will help to preserve and promote the health. Along with that one, even Ayurveda has, or Ayurveda suggests, or Ayurveda give the message of intention of birth. So each and every individual who take birth, he will be having his own intention or his own goal or aim. So Ayurveda elaborates the aim of each and every individual's birth, that is achieving the Purushartha Chatushtayas, what we call object of pursuit, object of human pursuit. So Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, to achieve these 4 Purusharthas, ultimately Ayurveda and ultimately the birth of an individual or aim of a individual belongs. So here Ayurveda, when it states that Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, these are the aims of Ayurveda, and everyone has to strive hard to achieve these Purusharthas. So here Dharma here doesn't equates with any religion. Dharma is something that is Kaya, Vak, Manasaha, Sucharitaha, any activities which are good at mind, good at vocabulary, or good at activity. Any activities which is good at mind, physical, or any vocabulary, that activities are considered as the Dharma. That is righteousness, what we call righteousness are nothing but it's Dharma. Another thing what we are going to get from the Ayurveda is Artha. Achievement of the Artha is nothing but the obviously economical values, what we are considering it as a prosperity. To get the prosperity, again Ayurveda is one of the main tool. Again Kama here refers to the desires, or it refers to the psychological values. To achieve the psychological values, or to fulfill all the desires, obviously Ayurveda is primary importance. In the same way, and moksha here, which refers to the spiritual value, to attain the liberty, or to attain the final liberty. So here, in such a way, Ayurveda helps to, or Ayurveda says that every individual, and Ayurveda itself has a aim to achieve the Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So when these are aims of Ayurveda, then what are the tools or what are the objectives to achieve these aim? Obviously Ayurveda delivers two objectives. One is swasthasya swastha rakshanam, another is aturasya vikara prashamanam. Swasthasya swastha rakshanam here refers to the preservation and promotion of health of healthy individuals along with prevention of the diseases. But whereas aturasya vikara prashamanam here it refers to the management of the ailments. When you see the first objective of Ayurveda, that is swasthasya swastha rakshanam, here even he want to say that one, ultimately healthy long life, leading a healthy long life is mandatory to achieve the Purushartha Chatushtayas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. If the person is having healthy life, if it is not long, then obviously he can't achieve these Purushartha Chatushtayas. If you want to achieve, obviously person should have healthy and long life. That is only possible when the person accepts the first truth, that is swasthasya swastha rakshanam. To achieve this one, again they mentioned certain tools. Which is the tool which is mentioned to achieve the first objective, that is swasthasya swastha rakshanam, ultimately adopting the Swasthavritta principle. When the person adopt Swasthavritta principles, when the person follow the doctrines of Swasthavritta, when the person start living into the principles of Swasthavritta, then he will be able to achieve the first objective, that is swasthasya swastha rakshanam. From there he can move towards the achieving the aim, that is Purushartha Chatushtayas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So if it is so, then what is Swasthavritta? So we are saying that to achieve the first objective, swasthasya swastha rakshanam, Swasthavritta, following the principles of Swasthavritta is the objective, is the tool. So if it is so, then what is Swasthavritta? So classically Swasthavritta as mentioned in such a way that, and before that even there are certain reference in Charaka, he mentions Swasthavritta is alone which will help to achieve healthy long life. That is, there is a reference that person can survive for 100 days. If the person survive for 100 days, then easily he can achieve the all Purusharthas. And even we all know that Ahara is the part and parcel of Swasthavritta, isn't it? So here Ahara, while explaining the detail or while explaining the importance of Ahara, Charakacharya beautifully mentions that Shat Trimshat Sahasrani Ratrani Jivaye Tanaturaha. Shat Trimshat Sahasrani Ratrani, in the sense 36,000 nights person will be able to survive just if he follow the habit of taking healthy diet. Shat Trimshat Sahasrani Ratrani Jivaye Tanatura Hitabhojanat. When the person consume Hitabhojana or Bhojana is part and parcel of Swasthavritta. When person just follow one facet, he will be able to survive for 100 days. So in such a way, when the person strictly start following the Swasthavritta principle, he will be able to survive or lead a healthy long life, by which he can attain the all Purushartha Chatushtayas. Next, coming to the what is Swasthavritta. So Swasthavritta, while defining the Swasthavritta, classically Swasthavritta has mentioned in such a way that is Swas means Stane, Swas means Karmane, Swas means Rupa, Stiyate iti Swasthavrittam. That is, any activities which will help to maintain the normalcy of all the Vatadi doshas, all doshas, dhatus and maladi components to remain within the physiological limit. Any activities which keeps all these physiological elements within the physiological limits, then that activities are considered as the Swasthavritta. So here again, Swasthavritta, it has many components. In Bhava Prakasha beautifully explains the components of Swasthavritta, especially like Dinacharya, Nishacharya, Rutucharya, Sadvrittam, Yatoditam, Acharyan, Swastha Purusha, Sada Tishtate, Nyanyata. So he explains 4 components which comes under the Swasthavritta. When person start adopting the principles like Dinacharya, Nishacharya, that is Ratricharya, Rutucharya and Sadvritta, when he starts applying these concepts, then he will be able to achieve the first object, that is Swasthasya Swastha Rakshanam. When this objective is fulfilled, obviously gradually he will lead to healthy long life, by which he can attain the Purushartha Chatushtayas, that is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So here, first as I said, Dinacharya. So before, so today only two components of the Dinacharya I am going to elaborate, especially Brahma Muhurta and Ushapana. So before applying the concept of Dinacharya, you might be seen, especially clinical people, usually they say that whenever they are advising any kind of medications, whenever they are advising any kind of Panchakarma treatment, there is a basic principles which supposed to be applied. For example, if there is any outbreak of any new diseases like Zika virus, or if there is any outbreak of chikungunya, there is no any direct reference in Ayurveda. But even though we are able to manage them confidently. How? Because we are applying certain basic principles. What are those? Yoga masatu yo vidya dosha kalopa bodhitaha purusham vikshaya vigya vishaguttamam. That is, person has to assess each and every part of the person. That is, even as I said, why we are able to manage such disease, even though it's not mentioned in the Ayurveda, we are following one of the another basic principle, that is what we call Shakuni sarva divasam api paripatanam swachayanati vartate. How the bird fly every day, but it doesn't go away from his shadow. In the same way, whatever may be the disease, it doesn't go away from the Vatadi dosha involvement. So on the basis of rogas, on the basis of involvement of roga, and even anukta, if there is any anukta vedi in the sense, if there is no any reference of diseases in Ayurveda, anukta vedi also can be assessed on the basis of dosha involvement, on the basis of lakshanika. So in such a way, whenever you are managing any patient, we are supposed to see the doshic involvement. Another is that along with doshic involvement, even we are supposed to see the purusham vikshaya. So you are supposed to examine each and every individual. There is no any thumb rule treatment for each and every diseases. Every treatment modality vary from person to person. In the same way, when we are applying the concept of Dinacharya, there is no any thumb rule. There is no any thumb rule that you are supposed to be followed in such a way, because always and even our students and many faculties also say that one, if you want to remain healthy, you are supposed to practice Dinacharya. What are the Dinacharyas? Obviously we will start from Brahma Muhurte Uttishte, then Malamutra Visarjana, Ushapana, Dantadavana, Kavala, Gandusha. These in such a way we are going to advise. But is it right way to advise such a way? Because Ayurveda says Purusham Vikshaya during the time of management. In the same way, when you are applying the concept of Dinacharya, you are supposed to assess the each and every factors of individual. There is no any thumb rule to advise Swasthavritta to each and every person. Because as we know that nowadays we know that what is the definition of health according to WHO, that is, it is a state of complete physical, mental, social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. But that, and even Ayurveda says the swastha lakshana, that samadosha samagnisha samadhatu malakriya prasannatmendriya mana swastha ityabhidiyate. But it is highly impossible to reach such, or it's highly impossible to reach such a highest stage, because it's an ideal stage. No one will reach there, because vayo aratri bhuktanam te ante madhyadika kramat. So on the basis of vayo, ahoratri, bhukta and age factor, dosha dhatu in our body it's going on fluctuating. When it is going on fluctuating, how can we achieve the samadosha avastha, samadhatu avastha? That is the reason we can't achieve samadosha samadhatu avastha. That is only the ideal state where we should strive hard to reach up to there, but it is highly impossible to achieve. And even Charakacharya, while elaborating the Prakriti, he beautifully mentions that Prakriti, we know that one, Samapitta anilabhyam, Samapitta anila sleshmaha, Samapitta anila sleshmaha, Kinchit garbadi manava. Kinchit garbadi, Samapitta anila sleshmaha, Kinchit garbadi manava anatura. That is, the people who is having or who is of Samaprakurti, he is anatura. Vataladhyam sadatura. So here we are all sadaturas. Even though we are looking that we are looking like a apparently healthy, but we are not perfectly healthy. So when we are not perfectly healthy, then we are not even we are towards sickness, because we are vataladhya. vata prakriti or dvandva prakriti, eka prakriti. So we are one or other way we are already victim for the diseases. When we are victim for the diseases, obviously concept of dinacharya should also vary how we are using the logic of purusham vikshayat while prescribing the disease. In the same way, while advising the dinacharya concept, you are supposed to see the prakriti. According to the prakriti, you are supposed to change the dinacharya module. It's not that Brahma Muhurta, suppose if I advise Danta Davana, while explaining Danta Davana, while explaining Kavala Gandusha, different materials they mentioned. Katutikta Kashaya, Pradhana Dravyas, preferably for like in Danta Davana, and even while explaining the Gandusha, he explains various materials like even Godugda, and even he explains about the Ushna Jala, even Gomutra. And same thing while explaining this Nasya Karma, even he explains about the various oil, Katu Taila, Anu Taila. Why these variations are made? These variations are made because you are supposed to assess the prakriti of the person. First, after assessing the prakriti, you are supposed to advise the dinacharya. For example, if the person is of Vata prakriti and if the person is of Krusha, do you advise him regular Udvartana? Obviously we can't. If the person is Tula, can we advise regularly Abhyanga? No. For them, we are supposed to advise Udvartana. In such a way, whenever you are prescribing the concept of dinacharya, don't follow thumb rule. There is no any thumb rule for any Swasthavritta principle, and even there is no any thumb rule for any management principles. Always Purusham Vikshya. That is Desha, Dusha, Kala, Bala, Prakriti, Vaya, Satmya, Sattva, Ahara, Avastha. These are some of the points which are supposed to be examined. After examination only we are supposed to advise the concept of principle. So coming to the dinacharya, as I said, so dinacharya, obviously dinacharya, what is dinacharya? Pratidinam kartavyam charya dinacharya. That is any activities which is done regularly is called as dinacharya. And even dine dinacharya, dinasyava charya dinacharya. That is any activity which is done uninterruptedly. Brahma Murte Uttiste Jirna Nirupayam. How to assess Jirna Nirupayam? How to convince the patient to assess by their own. So this is literally lacking in our literally lacking while catering the concept of Ayurveda among the health seekers. We totally, even whenever we are prescribing any sort of medications, and while advising medications, even we advise food intake, but we never ever focus on the digestive fire or digestive system, especially the Agni. Every time, Matra Shishyat Punaragni Bala Apekshani. Every time you consume the food, every time you take the medications, it is must that you are supposed to assess your Agni. But we don't advise, because Agni assessment should be done by the patient by its own. You are not supposed to see every time, because medications, whatever you are advising, food, whatever food recommendation, whatever you are going to advise, person will go to his home and he will start following those things. Whenever he take any food, whenever he take any medications, he is supposed to see the Agni. If he doesn't follow according to the Agni, even though if he take nectar, that will go vain. Even though if he drink the Amrita, that will be wasted. That is the reason, whenever you are prescribing any sort of modalities, you are supposed to say how to assess the Agni. There are very simple logic or simple techniques Ayurveda recommends to assess the Agni. That is according to the Bhava Prakasha. He explains that Udghara Shuddhirotsaha Vegotsarga Yatoditam. Isn't it? Udghara Shuddhirotsaha, clear belching, Vegotsarga Yatoditam. Lagutaha, Kshut Pipasascha Jirnahar Lakshanam, lightness, feeling, and proper occurrence of the appetite, and proper occurrence of the thirst. These are some of the very simple tools you can recommend and you can advise the patient to assess. When it comes to the Jirna Nirupayan, again the person is supposed to see his Agni in such a way. Even Ashtankara beautifully explained. Prasruste Vinmutre Rudisu Vimale Dosaye Swatage Vishuddhe Udgare Kshudopagamane Vatayanusarati Tadhagna Udrikte. So in such a way, what he want to say, Prasrushte Vindmutra, when the person is able to eliminate all the bowels clearly, when he feel lightness, This is the same when you feel real appetite. So these are some of the very beautifully explained. If you start catering this one, then person will adopt perfectly Brahma Muhurta, because we are catering the time. But when to get up, how to get up, they had made certain recommendation. What that recommendation they did? Obviously, Jirna Nirupaya. Without assessing Jirna Nirupaya, in Ajirna condition, if you get up, then the person will end up with lots of complication. So, we are recommending the time, but we are not at all focusing on the Jirna Nirupaya. But coming to the Ashtanga Hridayakara, what he says, Sharira Chintam Nirvartante Kritashauchadi Vidistata. What exactly you want to say? Sharira Chinta is nothing but just only seeing the physiological condition of your digestive power. Even along with that, even you are supposed to plan. You should have a foresight what you are supposed to do. So in our house, there are lots of like our elders, they used to say, you are supposed to plan out what you are supposed to do throughout the day. They used to make us to maintain some diary so that you can do all the activities. Sharira Chinta, here even indirectly you want to say that you are supposed to plan out all the things what you are supposed to do in particular day. If you don't plan out, then you can't follow each and every Dinacharya modalities, because Dinacharya modality, it has near about 13 to 14 tools. If you want to follow this one, you should have a foresight what to do, when to do, how much to do. If you don't have, after the as soon as you get up from the bed, after evacuation of bowels, sometimes you may go to sleep. If you don't have any plans like that, then obviously you will one or other way you will quit the practice of Dinacharya. That is the reason you should have a foresight what to do. That is the reason Sharira Chinta Nirvartante Krita Shauchadi Vidistata. And even there is one more reference in Ashtangakara. What he explains that so in whenever I will remember that, I will quote that quotation. So ultimately what I want to say is that Jirna Nirupayam is ultimate whenever you are advising the person to get up in the morning, even along with saying Brahma Murti Uttishte, you are supposed to emphasize more on the Jirna Nirupayam. And what are the advantage of getting up in the early morning? Suppose Jirna, if it is a Ajirna condition, Ayurveda recommends that without taking any food, again he is supposed to sleep. Instead of doing the Shayya Tyaga, again he is supposed to go to sleep for 45 minutes, one Muhurta, 48 minutes. Within 48 minutes, all the food which is the person who is in the indigestion condition, that will be digested, and he will be cleared with all the digestive incompatibility. Then he can go for practice of other activities. And even Brahma Muhurta, why it is important? Brahma Muhurta is nothing but, even it's also called as Panchamruta Vela. Panchamruta Vela, because here in Brahma Muhurta we are supposed to acknowledge, or we are supposed to enjoy the benefits of Panchamruta Vela, that is Shuddha Vayu, Shuddha Akash, Vipula Prakash, Vipula Akash, Shuddha Vayu, Shuddha Jala, Shuddha Bhumi. So these are togetherly available as a nectar. That is the reason why it is said that Brahma Muhurta is Panchamruta Vela. And whenever you are supposed to get up in the Brahma Muhurta, whenever you plan to get up in the Brahma Muhurta, you are supposed to see the Jirna Nirupayam. Along with that, you are supposed to Sharira Chinta Nirvartante Krita Shauchadi Vidistata. That is, you are supposed to, you should have the foresight of planning what all the things should be done throughout the day, and later planning and later assessing your digestive power. You are supposed to evacuate, that you are supposed to go for clearance of your bowels, Mala Mutra Visarjana. Then next part, that is Ushapana. So what I want to say is that most of the time whenever we are planning any modality, preventive modalities, blindly we will start. If you want to advise any Dinacharya module, blindly we start Brahma Murti Uttishte, Ushapana, Malamutra Visarjana. But Ushapana, why we are supposed to write? When there is no any reference of Ushapana in Bruhutrayas. But even though we started incorporating this thing, is it right way to incorporate in Dinacharya module? No. Brahma, because this concept is explained by the Bhava Prakasha. Before Bhava Prakasha, again there are many more Nigantus even which elaborates about the Ushapana. So Bruhutrayas never mentioned about the Ushapana. So he explains as Brahma Murti Uttishte, then Malamutra Visarjana. This is right. So instead of making mandatory Ushapana to everyone, it is your intellect to incorporate किसको बोलना है किसको नहीं एडवाइस करना ये आपके इंटेलेक्चुअल पे डिपेंड होता है. It is not that it is as a thumb rule it should be advised for every person. Why so? We will discuss it later. So what is Ushapana? Usha obviously again it is called as Usha is nothing but the Brahma Muhurta Kala, that is सूर्योदय अति सन्निहित प्राक काला. सूर्योदय अति सन्निहित प्राक काला, that is just time which is just before the onset of sunrise, that is almost let's say Brahma Muhurta. So Brahma Muhurta and Usha are one and the same, and Pana is obviously any drinks, preferably Jala. So what should be the quantity and what should be the quality of the food water intake? Most of the time nowadays we see many patients who are taking blindly Ushna Jala. Whether Bhava Prakasha recommends to take Ushna Jala, people they take ताम्रस्थित जला, उसको गर्म करके गुनगुना they will drink. Whether it is advisable for each and every person or if there is any certain restrictions while advising such kind of water. But Bhava Prakasha never mentions to boil the water. He first coming to the quantity, what should be the quantity? So quantity he mentions that obviously Savitu Samudaya Kale Salilasa Pibed Ashtam. Salilasa Pibed Ashta Prasuta Jala. Ashta Prasuta Jala, that is one Prasuta, if you calculate it comes around 80 ml. So Ashta it will go around 8 just 64, 640 ml of water should be consumed. So this is the quantity what they mentioned. And what should be the quality? Quality he mentions that Salilasya Parshutasya Jala. Parshuta Jala is Basi Jal, what we call, which असंस्कारित जल, जो आपको स्रोत से मिला है, पानी के स्रोत से, you are supposed to preserve same as it is in Tamrapatra. That's it. You are not supposed to boil it or you are not supposed to drink it warm. So to whom you are supposed to advise warm? Again it will depends on Prakriti. You are supposed to see if the person is of Vata Kafaja Prakriti and if the person is of Pitta Prakriti and if the person of Vata Prakriti, then amount of cooling will vary. Ashtangakara says beautifully how to drink the water. He mentions that Anabhishandam laguchyatoyam kvatita shitalam pitta krute hite dehi. If the person is of Pitta Prakriti, he is supposed to boil it, cool it, then drink. If the person is of Vata Prakriti, again the ratio of reduction he mentioned in different manner. That is Chaturbhaga Avasheshitam Kafaroganut. If the person is suffering with Kafarja Vyadhi, if the person belongs to the Kafaja Prakriti, he is supposed to drink the water with his Chatushbhaga Avasheshitam. That is 1/4 of the 3/4 water should be evaporated, 1/4 should be remained. That is essential for the Pitta Kapha Prakriti or Kapha Vikaras. In the same way, if the person is of Vata Prakriti, Ardham Hidam Cha Vatanu, that is 50% of the water should be evaporated, 50% of the water should be remained. So that kind of water should be advised. In such a way, you are supposed to make some alteration in the water while boiling. In such a way, if you get, but for healthy individual, if even though if he looks as a apparently healthy, for them Parishuddha Jala is mandatory. But if you are able to make out the Prakriti, then according to the Prakriti, if he is Vata Prakriti, amount and method of boiling and reduction should be varying. In the same way, Kapha, Vata, Pitta, it will vary and it should be advised. What is the importance of Ushapana? Obviously, Ushapana helps to prevent lots of diseases which are related to the gastrointestinal tract, especially like Arsha, Grahini, even Jatara Roga, Kushta Roga. So Jatara Roga and Arsha, Visarpa like conditions are also prevent. These are the references what we get from the Bhava Prakasha. This is the importance of Ushapana. By this, I would like to conclude my submission. Thank you.